So since this is it's an intense class, there's a lot of things to think about and to digest. I always think it's a really sweet idea to set our intention at the very beginning and to create some good seeds. So to do that, let's imagine while we're saying this prayer that we're creating the world that we want to live in, right? This world that, for me, it has its incredible beauty and abundance of life, different kinds of life in it, where people and the other beings all love each other and take care of each other, where there's kindness, where people are not wanting desperately for things, their lives, their food, whatever it is. So let's offer this mandala. Dashi Buki Jukjing Meito Drum Ri Rab Lingji Nende Genpa Sangye Shingdu Mikte Ulwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Inam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. And setting our wish, taking shelter. Sangye Chunam Soki Chuknam La Jangchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Jinso Ki Pe Sunam Ki Jola Penchir Sangye Jupar Sho Sangye Chudam Soki Chuknam La Jangchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Jinso Ki Pe Sunam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Jupar Shok Sangye Chudam Soki Chuknam La Jangchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Ki Pe Sunam Ki Jola Penchir Sangye Jupar Sho. Thank you. So we're in class 2, and we're going to go into some of the other flavors of emptiness. But before we do that, I think all of us like to know, where am I in this whole process? Like, where am I in my spiritual growth? We like to get certificates for classes. We like to be able to check off how many courses we have done. You know, we're told that you need to finish this many courses to do this and that. We like graduations, right? We like, and I think it encourages us to have these markers in our lives that help us pinpoint where we are on some type of continuum, right? So we look in the scriptures for statements that say, how long will it take to get to single-pointed focus, right, in our meditation. Or how many lives until I'm enlightened, right? And it's not a silly question. So in Buddhism, there are basically 5 levels. There are 5 paths, like 5 levels to go through. And this is levels kind of means or is a synonym for, say, tokpa. Tokpa. And tokpa means realizations. So generally, when we have certain realizations, it changes our lives. You reach them and you don't slide backwards. So we each need to go through them. And they are spiritual milestones. Right? So the first one, Tsokla, is the path of accumulation. So here I've got this picture of all the things being accumulated for a trip. And they're just kind of in a pile, right? All the things needed. And this is our spiritual journey. So what do we need to accumulate for it? We need energy. We need wisdom. We need knowledge. We need goodness. And at this first path, Soklam, we're thinking about the best things we can do to help others. Why? Because we know that's what's going to get us to enlightenment. So then I can really help them, right? So we're fixed on enlightenment. This is what a bodhisattva is doing. This is the wish. It's like, and Rick can tell us, it's like learning piano so you can teach others. And to do it, it takes the same amount of work, right? And that is what we need to see emptiness directly. And we are told that any normal person can do it, but so few of us have done it yet, right? We don't need to be a virtuoso. We just need to be pretty good. To think you could see emptiness with less effort than to become a good concert pianist is foolish. So you would first need to find a really good teacher, and then you have to practice several hours every day. You have to think about it and plant all of the seeds necessary. And there ain't no other way to do it. You have to put the time in. The second path is called Jorlam. And that's the path of preparation. So, you've accumulated everything, and then you start organizing it and putting it together. For what? For going through 4 levels of increasingly sophisticated intellectual understanding of emptiness. The idea that you can see emptiness just because you had a good breakfast or you fell a certain way on the ground and you hit your head or something like that is foolish. That's not possible. Lord Buddha never said anywhere that to see emptiness, that can happen. Lord Buddha did say you must go through the stages, right? Which is a lot of intellectual study of emptiness. First, You have to get those teachings. That's the accumulation part. Then you get those teachings on seeds, on emptiness, the basics, the two wings of an enlightened being, right? And then you begin to organize your studies in your mind and contemplate it and meditate on it. So, what we're doing at Jorlam, at the path of preparation, is the wisdom that comes from learning. You know, when I held up the pen, or when you held up the pen and tried to see it as something other than just a pen, right? You are using wisdom that comes through contemplation, through meditation. And you have to go through those stages. Do you remember those stages of Tu, Sam, Gom? Tu, Sam, Gom, right? Study, contemplate, and meditate. Right? And those are the tools we need. And then let me go back a minute. So at the path of preparation, you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper into your understanding of emptiness through learning, through listening about it from, someone who knows or has some high level of understanding emptiness. They may not have seen emptiness directly themselves. If you're lucky to have someone like that, by all means, study with that person, right? But there are not so many of them around. So you take the second best, someone who has at least some deeper understanding than you do, or hopefully does, right? So study with them, and we can ask this question of, you know, but I heard that somebody, when they were 12 years old, had this insight into emptiness without meeting a teacher. Is that possible? Yeah, of course it's possible. But they didn't have a teacher. Why do I need a teacher? Well, probably that person had been studying for countless lifetimes with somebody. And at that time, it just happened that those seeds ripened when they didn't have a teacher in this lifetime. But all of the seeds that they had planted before ripened in that moment for them to see emptiness directly. It's not impossible. It's just pretty much unlikely, right? Let's not count on that. And then path number 3, the path of seeing, is when we have the direct perception of emptiness. So we're talking about getting to some level that we know where we are. Right? And we could say, after 1 billion lifetimes, I know where I am. Like Geshe Michael can say, I know I have been at level number 3. I have seen emptiness directly. I have 7 lifetimes to go. Definite. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm out of here, right? I've seen it. Wouldn't that be comforting? to reach that level, to know directly that you're going to get enlightened, and you will see during that time directly your own enlightenment. It's really what we want, right? We want some kind of confirmation that we're at a certain level. And you get that by doing MAHAMUDRA emptiness meditation. That's why I'm talking about it, right? So the only real measure of where you are, as you can feel from this description of these three paths, is how good you're doing with emptiness meditation. Did you get it or not? And then you are at some kind of level that you absolutely know is true, and a level that doesn't go backwards. Once you reach Tonglam, the path of seeing, the direct perception of emptiness, you never go back. You're changed forever. You're an Arya. An Arya means changed forever person. You are a stream enterer. And you can do it in this lifetime. Geshe Michael also says that at the path of preparation, that when your understanding of the pen is deep enough, like before you begin to blame somebody, you stop yourself and understand this thing is coming from me. This person is coming from me. This situation is coming from me. That we also cannot go backwards. We will not be born into the lower realms, which for me, I find a huge relief. It means we can keep going forward to have that direct perception of emptiness. So I don't know about you, but I find knowing, how I'm reacting to somebody or something helps me to place myself on this timeline and helps give me encouragement to continue to work on this path. Because I can see that I'm not as much of a schmuck as I used to be. I don't think I'm as judgmental as I used to be. I think I'm much kinder. And I can see that it works. So with that encouragement, let's get ready to meditate. Make yourselves comfortable. Feet flat on the floor. Back straight. Shoulders onto your back. Tummy tucked in. Little Mona Lisa smile on your face. Relax your forehead. Bring your attention to the tip of your nose. Feel the warm air going out and the cooler air coming in. We're going to stay here. Geshe Michael does 100 counts. We're not going to do 100 counts because we don't have that much time. Let's go up to 25 exhales and inhales. If your mind wanders, just gently bring it back.
И теперь медленно открывайте глаза и возвращайтесь. And now slowly come back to your room because we lost Venerable Gyelse. We have a break in our meditation.
A little different energy than meditating.
Yeah, we were trying to bring you back. Thank you for coming back, Venerable Gyelse. We just did our counting, breath counting, and that's it.
Often. I am now on my phone. We'll see if that is any better. So let's take a few breaths, get back to meditating. Now that you got all jazzed up, put your feet flat on the floor, straight back. Tuck your tummy in again, shoulders on your back, opening your heart to the world. A little smile. Let's go back to our breath. Now that you've had some practice with it already today, let's go back to it again. Feeling the warm air going out, the cool air coming in. Think of somebody who you would like to be like, who you respect highly, who has some qualities that you would like to have. Invite them to come and meditate with you. And think about that quality that they have that you would like. And just by being around them, it helps us to develop that quality. And then make them a beautiful offering, give them something that represents your gratitude and your love. There's a special practice called the offering of Samantabhadra, where you fill the sky with beautiful flowers and delicious things to eat and drink and whatever your imagination can conjure up. Just think of something good that you've done in the last 24 hours and share that with them and see how happy they are with you. Something you can be proud of as well. Something that brings a big smile to your face. And now recall something that you're not so happy that you did or said to somebody. Clean your heart of it. And your friend is really happy with you. Now think of a friend or someone in your family, of something good that they did and how they help influence you for the good. And ask them to stay, to be a good influence on you. Then ask your seats to show you, to give you some special message today or tonight to help you see where you are on this path. Now we're going to go into our MAHAMUDRA meditation. Try to visualize or think about your favorite physical thing, the thing you're most attached to. Get a clear picture. It doesn't have to be like a picture drawing picture, but an idea picture, an idiom, an idea picture in your mind of what that thing is. Once you have that, examine your feelings about it. Check your filters, those rose-colored glasses that we wear, your worldview about it. You probably think it has some sort of lasting quality, that it's going to last for a while. How to judge whether or not you're thinking about it correctly is to consider how disappointed you would be if it were lost or broken or stolen by someone. How strongly do you feel that this object is going to last? If you're feeling sleepy, sit up straighter. Now try to concentrate on the same object, but cancel its self-existence. What does that mean? It would mean to try to see it as something which is not going to last and which has no permanence. Something which is passing through your life rather quickly, changing constantly as it goes, and will very quickly, very soon be out of your life. Try to look at it that way. Strip away your natural feeling that it's going to last for a while. Again, focus on that favorite object that you own and don't think anything about it. Just focus on it. Now try to get in touch or in tune with your feelings that you own it and what that implies. You have control over it. You decide where it goes. No one else can come and move it or take it or do anything to it. It's yours. Focus on your feeling of what it means for it to be yours and how you look at it that way. That is your world view about the object. That's the color of glasses you have on when you look at that object. Maybe it's a different color than the first color. I own this thing, which means I control where it goes and what happens to it. Now try to strip away that way of thinking. See how wrong it is. That's the gotcha. You don't own that thing. You can't control its destiny. No one else can either. Try to look at that object in a new way. Cancel that old thought about it. And then try to see it as something that is under the control of other factors, not you, really. Now ask your friend to come to the top of your head. They come down your central channel into your heart chakra, where there's a beautiful cushion on top of a rose flower. The cushion is made of white light, and your precious friend is sitting upon it. And the light from their heart and your heart goes out to the world, touching every being so that they too may see the mistake in how they're holding things, how they're seeing things. And in this way, we dedicate the good seeds that we have just done through our meditation. And the light comes back to your heart. Return your attention to the tip of your nose. Three long exhales. When you're ready, open your eyes and stretch. Thank you. So that's a meditation you can do. And by the end of this course, you'll have a whole MAHAMUDRA meditation in your toolbox. So you can pull it out whenever you want. And of course, it's in there with a whole lot of other meditations. You'll have your Tonglen meditation, your Lamrim meditation, your death meditation, right? And then we have these tools that we can pull out anytime we need them. Again, I want to thank you for your patience with my internet. So far, so good. So let's review. Let's wake up. Give a little shake, have a glass of water. Roll your shoulders, whatever it takes. Yeah, stretch. Valerie, thank you. So the first flavor, say tachik, rangwang, chengi, dakmepa. The lack of a self which is unchanging, whole, and independent. This is a lack of a self which is, well, technically they say the lack of a self which is self-standing and substantial. But what does that mean? It means something that exists all on its own and as a whole. And this is according to the independent group of the Middle Way School. So we're talking Svatantrika, right? Next one is the lack of a self which is self-standing and substantial. And so this one is unchanged and whole and independent. It doesn't change. It's a whole thing. It doesn't depend on anything. It's independent. And this other one too, it's very similar. It's a lack of a self which is whole and stands on its own. Number 3. People popularized this flavor are the mind-only school. And we're going to talk about 2 ideas they have about emptiness. And this will be flavors 3 and 4. And we're going to get 2 doses of mind-only school. And it's a tough school. Any of you who have been present for the middle way, or for the mixed nuts classes, who have studied mind-only school, and I'll slow down, sorry, know that it's a really tough class to understand. So we're going to talk about this a bit. This school says Sukdang Sukzin Gitsema, Zaishin Gitongwa. Form and form holder, that's Suk and Sukzin. Sema is a valid perception. Zaishin means separate substance, and Tongwa, just like Tongpani, emptiness, Tongwa is empty. So what we see, and we who see it, are empty of coming from separate seeds. Me and the pen, right, are coming from the same seed. So suk means visible objects, the object that is appearing. We're not talking here, sometimes suk means your body or your 5 heaps. the 5 parts of your body. But that we're just talking about the object here. So what is a sema? What is a valid perception? I'll have to talk about it. But before that, we're going to talk about this thing, zation, a separate substance. It's a code word in the mind-only school for comes from a different karmic seed. According to the mind-only school, that is what emptiness is. Is it true that me and you have only come here randomly? I see Anna smiling. No, right? Mind only says that this is not true. Emptiness is the lack of truth to that. So don't forget that emptiness just means to cancel something, to deny something. So there's no such thing as randomness, as chance. The pen, right? The pen was forced into your room, into my room by seeds. And I was forced into that room by seeds too. And then we joined together, right? We're there together, you and the pen, from one karmic seed. So that's the whole point of the mind-only school. That's their entire idea of emptiness. So we could say this school would be, they would say there are no accidents. So when something good happens, we don't investigate it. We don't say, why did that happen to me? You don't go home and lay awake in bed all night thinking about, why did that good thing happen to me? Right? We just think, oh, that's amazing that happened. But when something bad happens, something we label bad happens, you lose your job, you break up a relationship, you get cancer, what happens? You sit up all night and wonder, why me? Why did I lose all that money? Why me? Mind only school says you can stop that now. That flavor of negative emotions. I just want to, I'm going to stop share for a moment. So in mind only school, me and the pen, we come from the same seed, right? We come from the same seed. That's what mind only school is saying. And I love that visual. For me, it really works. One seed, two things, me and pen, me and my partner, me and my job, me and my boss. We come from the same seed. That's what mind only school is saying. Yeah. Let me go back to sharing now. Let's see. No, I shouldn't have. Oh, there we go. Got it. So every flavor of emptiness has its own negative thoughts. First one works on that feeling that things are going to last, right? They're going to be around. We're going to be around. The thing's going to be around. The pen's going to be around. My car's going to be around. The second one is I own these things. We've been through those two, right? Now, the third one, and I need to see my translators here again. The third one works on that feeling of, why do things happen to me? Right? And Master Shantideva in the Bodhisattva Avatar says, look, there's only three possibilities of why this is happening to you. What are they? It's random. It just is like the Big Bang. It just happened out of nothing. It's random. Do we sometimes think that way? Yeah. Is this useful? Oh, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm thinking that. It's just random. I didn't do anything to create this, right? Number two is that there's a divine being, a creator God who's making it happen, right? God is making war happen. God is making us suffer. And number three is that there is some sense to why things happen. There's justice. What is that? Your seeds. Cosmic justice to things. And that's why this is happening to you. Right? And in the four schools of Buddhist philosophy, up to school number three, all of these things hold. So at this point, we've reached someone who's saying, you want to stop your negative seeds, right? This causes justice. Get it, there's no accidents. Whatever happens to you is coming from one force or energy, right? That one seed that you set in motion before. Don't go blaming other people. Don't think bad things are happening to you at random. Don't blame some higher being. It's you. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing that we ever encounter, no object that we ever encounter is not coming from some seed that we set in motion ourselves. Now, that could be depressing or it could be inspiring. Dang, I set that in motion. That is crappy. It could be depressing. It's also, dang, I set that in motion. Therefore, I cannot continue to do it. right? It's like, which one are you going to choose? Which one are you going to choose? Me, rather than get depressed, it's like, oh God, I messed up again, but I have a chance to change it because it is powered by seeds. That's the only thing it's powered by. So according to the mind-only school, this is the lack of a self to things. According to the independent group, the Svatantrika group, this is the gross lack of a self to things. Does it help deal with our negative states of mind? Yeah. Is it the one thing that can remove our negative thoughts forever? No, that's number 6. And that's why Lord Buddha made the mind-only school. It helps us, right? This flavor of emptiness, that there are no accidents, nothing is random, not just physical objects, but your thoughts too, right? That's preparing you for MAHAMUDRA. Your thoughts ain't no accident either. There's no such thing as a random thought or a random emotion or random bouts of depression or anxiety. It all has its karmic causes. Therefore, we can change it. We don't have to be stuck there. So if we want to translate it, it would be something like the fact that things are void of subject and object. They are void of coming from a separate seed. Me and you being here together came from one seed. I have one seed to be here, seeing you, doing this class. You have one seed to be here, seeing me, listening to me, doing this class. So emptiness is always a lack of something. And the typical example would be the lack of a 40-foot, two-headed, psychedelic elephant rampaging through my room at this moment. Right? That's one kind of emptiness. And you think in your mind, man, that's really a silly example. But it isn't. Because the self-existent thing that we are grasping onto that causes all of our suffering has exactly the same unreal status as a two-headed pink psychedelic elephant rampaging through this room. Right? Think of that every time. You could impose that image on the person you're arguing with. They have as much existence as this two-headed pink psychedelic elephant, right? The self-existent thing that we strongly believe in, which causes all of our suffering, has exactly the same amount of existence as this elephant. Makes us seem pretty silly, doesn't it? Emptiness is denying something that never exists, never could exist, and never will exist. But that in our heart we feel strongly exists. How many times do we try to defend our point of view and it's like, but, because we think it exists truly as that thing. So the next time, you're like, my way is the right way. Think about this two-headed pink psychedelic elephant, right? Your right way doesn't exist any more than this elephant does. That's how this is useful, right? So let's go through this again. Level number 1, things that last, they don't exist. Things that you own, they don't exist. Bosses that bother you and just came out of nowhere, which you had nothing to do with, they don't exist. Emptiness is always the denial of a gotcha. Gotcha meaning non-existent, self-existent thing. Exactly the same as a rabbit with horns or a pink two-headed psychedelic elephant, right? They don't exist. But our emotions about them cause all of our suffering. Our feelings about them cause us to hurt, cause us to fight. For something that doesn't exist. But we think it does. We feel it does, right? So we're going to move on to number 4, the 4th flavor. Rangni chipe tane chupe, jukshiyempa rangitsene kijupe. The fact that any particular thing is called what it is something which is devoid of existing by definition. That's the definition of the 4th flavor of emptiness. Simply, the fact that things are called what they are called is not something which is automatic. Is a pen automatically called a pen? And according to the mind-only school, this is also the lack of a self to things. Something is called what it is automatically from its own side. Who decides we should call it a pen? We do, by convention, right? Pen, bee, stilo, pluma. So we get used to the idea that if you've studied mind only, this is the kuntak. It's something you've made up in your mind. But our nature, human nature, is to think that it's naturally called that and nothing, and nothing else. It's a pen. It's a pen. It's a pen. When my dog chewed on my pen, it was still my pen. But my dog thought it was a chew toy, right? So It's not something which has a God-given right to be called a pen. It is a construct. It is an idea. It is something we've made up. But the human tendency, human nature, which leads to negative emotions, is to say, my mom called that a pen, so it has to be a pen. That's how we learned what to call it, right? We didn't come into this world knowing it was a pen, right? They are things imposed on us, suppositions from our cultures. My mom, my dad, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Norwich, they said, democracy is right for everybody. So everyone should live that way because they told me so, right? It's natural. There's no other way to live, right? True? Of course not. It's not the only way to live. It's not something which is natural. It's not something which is automatic. It's an idea. It's a construct. It's something that my parents and Mrs. Norwich made up, or their parents told them. It's a construct of our culture. And we all have different cultures. And get sensitive. What is a construct in your culture? Question it, right? So this is about how we interpret, sorry, the things around us, how you judge them, how you decide whether they're good or bad. And it's a construct. So there's a story. There was a man who was very poor and he lived in the Himalayan foothills. I don't know if some of you have studied there. I have. A beautiful place. And he was so poor that he only had one piece of cloth to cover his body. He didn't even have a shirt. He also had some small sandals for his feet, nothing else. And one day he was walking up the mountain and it started to rain. He had nothing to protect him, so he just kept walking anyway. And he came around a bend in the road, and there was a beautiful statue of Lord Buddha. And he saw that the rain was coming down on the Buddha's head. And he got an idea. Slow down, sorry. He got an idea. First he thought, I could take off the cloth that's covering my body. But maybe other people would be embarrassed. But he had his sandals. So he put one of them on the Buddha's head like a hat. And then he kept going, feeling happy that he had done the right thing. Right? Then the rain was over and the sun came out. A wealthy man was coming up the same path, and he too turned the corner and saw the statue. And when he saw the shoe on the head of the Buddha, he was horrified. He ran and took it off and threw it down the hill. And then he apologized to Lord Buddha. He said, I'm sorry, some stupid person put their shoe on your head. Let me ask you, who did the right thing? The poor man or the rich man? Both, 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 both. Yeah. So sometimes something looks like a problem to us, but someone else might look at the same thing and it looks good for them, right? So we could say that emptiness number 4 is very helpful in the case of judging things, judging other people. Do we really have the equipment to say the person next to you is the way that you're thinking about them right now? Can we read their minds? Can you really tell who the people around you are? I was out to dinner with some friends the other night, and somebody said, "What do you think that person is thinking about doing?" And we're like, "We don't know. We don't know what they're thinking. We only know what we think they're thinking. But we don't know." So Lord Buddha is slowly stripping away the justifications for most of our negative thoughts. Cool? Cool, right? Stop thinking of things as lasting forever. Stop thinking that you can own something. Stop thinking accidents can happen. They can't. And now we have, stop thinking your judgments of things are God-given. It's a has to be that way. Because that's also just a result of your seeds, the way you see something. If we understood this kind of emptiness, we'd have to stop fighting about silly things like favorite songs, let alone bigger things like whose land it is. Who has the best car? Who has the biggest house? Who has this? Who has that, right? Mind Only School says, please don't forget it's a construct. You could just as well twisted it around in a different way and you would love that person. And probably in a year from now you will, right? And then you'll think, that's a God-given thing. Get used to realizing that your judgments, especially of other people, are something that you are creating. It's a construct in your mind. Rangi Sene Ki Madrupa means not existing by definition. This one says Rangi Kijrupa Dongla. It is a mind-only school code word for it doesn't come from its own side that way. You're putting the trip on it. You are labeling it. You are imputing it, that big fancy word. You are making it that way, and that's your problem. So don't go blaming other people when they don't think about it that way. It's very good for preventing conflict, right? Don't get upset when you're in conflict with someone else. And then you will have eliminated another 25% of your negative thoughts. So it's very useful construct, right? It's a very useful idea. It's pretty cool. So the mind-only school is very, very attractive. I think is it my camera that's freezing? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Maria, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Everything is super attractive, right? Our interpretation of things is our interpretation of things. It's our construct. And that's Kuntak in mind.
Thank you.
Okay. So what was I saying? I was saying that this construct is a Kuntak of the mind-only school. And there are two other parts of the mind-only school. Do you remember them? There's Shenwang and Yongdrup. Shenwang means all the changing things in the world. And Yongdrup means the emptiness of everything in the world. Are these constructs in the mind-only school? No. In the mind-only school, those things come from their own side. A pen from its own side. The penness comes from its own side. Whatever you call it, how you judge it is different. There is a pen here. Whether it's a good or a bad pen is a construct. But in the mind-only school, they say there is a pen here. Does it come from its own side? Yeah, in the school. Through its own unique way of being, through its own identity. So realize that and stop fighting with other people about, oh, I like this. You have to like the things the way I like them. You have to not like the things I don't like. That's a huge source of conflict. So yes, the mind-only school says there's a pen out there and that it comes from its own side and that it has its own unique way of being. Lord Buddha is setting us up for flavor number 6. 3 and 4 are very cool ways of looking at reality, but they have a major flaw. What is it? it's still founded on the idea that things are coming from their own side, which is still short of the ultimate emptiness. Me, who comes from my own side, and the pen that comes from its own side. Me, who exists inherently from my own side, and the pen, which exists inherently from its own sides, have come from the same karmic seed. That's mind-only school. And me, who exists inherently, has judgments about this pen, which exists inherently. That's where they're at. The pen is really there from its own side. It exists from its own side, whether or not I think about it. Whether or not I'm aware of it, it is there. If a tree fell in the forest, the sound would be there. And I am over here and it's over there. Whether I think it's good or bad, now that's a construct. That I'm making up. This is what mind-only people think. And they're like on the fence. They're kind of like us, right? They don't want to make up their mind. They don't want to go with the Abhidharma school that says everything comes from its own side. And they don't want to go with the middle way school that says nothing comes from its own side. That's too extreme. That's crazy. You middle way guys say nothing exists. Is that true? No. But mind only accuses them of that. Is it true that my judgments are something that I make up? That they don't exist from their own side? Rangit Seneki Majup. I think we can pretty much say that. We recognize that. But the pen? Give me a break. You can't say there's no pen here. That's too extreme. Mind only gets nervous when you say that. So hang in there. We're almost done. So far today, talking about emptiness is thinking there are no accidents and that things will pass, right? That you haven't set, there are no accidents that we haven't set in motion the forces that created the pen or me, who also exist from my own side, from this point of view and from this school. So number one, this too will pass. Okay. So things are empty of being unchanged. Number two, I cannot control the things in the present moment. Things are empty of having a controller. Number three, I've put this, we can say the pen, we can say our partner, and myself here. What we see and we who see it are empty of coming from separate seeds. And number four, there is somebody who would find this pleasant. Things are empty of being called what they are automatically. So these last ones, that there cannot be any accidents. And secondly, that our judgments of the pen, such as a good pen, I like this pen, bad pen, I don't like this pen, are fixed, and that everyone else should think that way. And if you don't think that way, you're a bad person. And of course, that's not true. That's the fourth kind of emptiness. It's very useful. They're all very useful kinds of emptiness, right? We're getting close. We're getting hot. And the next session on Thursday, we'll move into the middle way schools. Number 5 belongs to the lower middle way school. Number 6 belongs to the higher middle way school. So we can use the tagline, favorite song, for number 4. Or there is somebody who would find this pleasant when we don't find it pleasant. And that, my dears, is the end of the class. Thank you for your patience with the world, the internet, and cell service. I still don't have internet. Still running off my phone here, which is pretty amazing. You have good seeds. So, yeah, thank you for hanging in there and the incredible good seeds that we've planted by doing that. And by thinking about these things and going through these different steps to understand what is causing all of our suffering, and begin to just chip away at it from these different perspectives, these different flavors of emptiness. And by doing that, we will create, and we are creating, the perfect world. So let's, again, it's so important to imagine these things, because that's where things get born, is in our imagination. And so the stronger we can imagine the world we want to live in, the more powerfully we can create it. So let's imagine that perfect world, to create it for everyone, in every world, in every universe. Sashi Puki Jukshing Metok Drum Rirab Ningshin Yende Gempadi Sange Shingdu Mikte Wargi Drokun Namdak Shingma Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnir Yataya Me Gewadi Kewokun Sunam Yeshe Soksokshing Sunam Yeshe Lejunwe Dampar Kuni Truparsho. By the goodness of what we have just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the 2 ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. Thank you, everybody who makes this happen. all of the interpreters, all of the tech, all of the staff, all of the organizers. I'm sure I've left somebody out, but thank you so much. And again, I apologize how broken up class was. That's our seeds. What do I say? We have to get better at this. So thank you ever so much, everyone. And I will see you on Thursday. Okay. Bye-bye.